I know my boundaries. I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's. I know
he just got knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this, but I want to fight you.
So AJ this morning, he went, listen, of course I'd fight. I mean, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight Jake Paul? And there was,
I wouldn't fight him. I'd bash him.
but he might do it. He might just do it for just for doing it for the sake of it. But obviously we know. Listen, Jake creates massive events.
Look into the camera and say it directly because it just has to be said. Jake Paul, sir, you are absolutely delusional.
Jake Paul has made it clear he wants to take on top boxers, and now Anthony Joshua is responding. When speaking to promoter Eddie Hearn, Joshua said, "I'd fight him." Hearn shared this, emphasizing that Joshua doesn't shy away from challenges. While a matchup between the two seems unlikely due to the big difference in experience, Joshua's openness to the idea has definitely gotten people talking. Whether Paul is serious about the fight or just trying to build hype is still unknown. But Joshua's response shows he's always up for a challenge.
I want to ask you a question because the world of media went mental this morning. Anthony Joshua against Jake Paul. Please put this to bed or light the fire. What's going on?
I mean, sorry. This is the first time I've spoken about the fight. To be honest, like, I look at it and I think Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, for me, we'd do it for the banter. Do you know what I mean? Like, AJ would fight Jake Paul. He'd fight anyone, to be honest with you. And if Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance. But, the only thing that was disappointed was he says 2026. I mean, that's like calling someone out. That's like me saying, LA Olympics for the surfing 2028, I'll be there. Do you know what I mean? Do it in 2025 if you really want to do it. You're not going to get really much better at this stage, but I don't know, those two have spoken. I spoke to AJ this morning, he went, listen, of course I'd fight. I mean, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight Jake Paul? And there was,
I wouldn't fight him, I'd bash him.
But he might do it. He might just do it for just for doing it for the sake of it. But obviously we know. Listen, Jake creates massive events, right? You know that's going to create like unbelievable viewership, and no disrespect to Jake Paul, it's a straightforward night's work. But I like this calling out of Canelo and all this. AJ it's another challenge up there. But if they're game, why not?
What did he say, AJ, to you about it?
He said, why not? I said, what do you want me to say when I'm asked about it? And he said, tell everyone I'll fight anyone, anytime. It's not a problem for me.
Jake Paul has been taking shots at Anthony Joshua, claiming AJ has no chin, no skills, and is stiff. The YouTuber-turned-boxer tweeted a picture of Joshua on a phone call with the caption, "Look who called 2026 Anthony Joshua." Paul boldly stated that he could beat the former heavyweight champ, sparking a lot of talk online. In response, Joshua posted a screenshot on Instagram showing a call with Jake Paul, just after Paul publicly challenged him and claimed he'd win in a fight. The social media back and forth has fans wondering if a showdown between the two could actually happen. Jake Paul recently shared a post from Vafa Sports revealing that, on February 10th, just 3 days after his fight with Canelo fell through, he sent a list of desired matchups for 2025 and 2026. One of the names on that list was Anthony Joshua. After hearing this, Vafa Sports reached out to Jake to confirm he was serious, and Jake was clear he definitely is. The boxing world and fans have been vocal about Jake Paul's challenge to Joshua, with many feeling that aiming to fight a seasoned heavyweight like AJ is an overly ambitious and unrealistic goal for Jake.
Real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, at Jake Paul is the truth. Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights, then he asked for the toughest fights ever and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh, crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind. You're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of MVP and someone that she really respects. And
Jake Paul's boxing journey is getting more complicated, as reports suggest he's also lined up to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. This comes after Davis's recent controversial bout with Lamont Roach. Despite this potential matchup, Jake has made it clear he still wants to take on Anthony Joshua. His eagerness to face big-name opponents from different weight classes shows just how ambitious he is in his boxing career.
Gervonta Davis, and she's not the only one saying that. Dan Raphael said the same thing earlier that day, or maybe yesterday. I can't believe that that's true, or if that was really going to happen. Essentially, the idea being, had Gervonta Davis beat Lamont Roach, he was going to fight Jake Paul next. And this is why I say, like, it's delusional, but it's possible. Like, he almost had the Canelo fight, and think what you will about how that went down and how realistic that was going to be. I legit think it was probably close to happening. Now you're telling me there were discussions and potentially, signed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And again, I do believe the reason for that is Jake's massive size advantage. Again, that's like a 100-pound weight advantage. How would that even work?
After his fight with Lamont Roach, Gervonta Davis used a post-fight conference to call out Jake Paul. This surprise challenge adds yet another twist to the growing story of Jake Paul's boxing career.
Who were you going to call out? What was the plan originally?
I think he was here. He came in my locker room.
Shakur Stevenson?
He wasn't in my locker room.
Jake Paul?
Next question.
Man, god damn, that's not the Gervonta I know.
Jake Paul's bold call out of Anthony Joshua, a two-time unified heavyweight champion, has definitely turned heads in the boxing world. Many are surprised that Paul, with his relatively limited boxing experience, would make such confident claims about a fighter of Joshua's skill and stature.
Jake Paul has just called Anthony Joshua out. Yes, Anthony Joshua, AJ, the two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. This brother called this man out. Oh my God. Now, in a recent clip on Jake Paul's podcast, I think, he basically said that he will beat Anthony Joshua's ass and he has no skill, no chin, and he's too stiff for him. He also apologized to Anthony, saying, Anthony, I'm sorry, we're friends, but I know I can beat your ass. This guy is tapped in the head. Then again, he almost got a fight with Tank. If Tank beat Lamont Roach when they drew, he would have fought Jake Paul. It was lined up, basically. A lot of people get mad when people say he's the face of boxing. These highly rated boxers want to fight Jake Paul. So, I don't know what to say, honestly. But one thing for sure, AJ will never fight. AJ is too classy for that. Way too classy. He respects the sport of boxing too much to fight this guy. Absolute plonker. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And make sure you follow for the most up-to-date and sharpest boxing news and content on TikTok.
The boxing community has wasted no time reacting to Jake Paul's comments about Anthony Joshua. Critics are quick to point out Paul's loss to Tommy Fury, questioning his credibility when it comes to assessing a fighter like Joshua. One Twitter user summed it up by saying, YouTube boxer Jake Paul, who lost to Tommy Fury, says heavyweight Anthony Joshua has no chin, no skill, is stiff, and that he would beat him. What is this guy talking about? Despite this, Anthony Joshua has shown he's open to the idea of fighting Jake Paul. According to promoter Eddie Hearn, Joshua said, "Listen, I'd fight him." While this shows Joshua's willingness, many in the boxing world believe the fight is unrealistic, given the vast difference in experience and skill. Some even describe the idea as delusional, questioning if the proposed matchup could be competitive at all.
Well then, it looks like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul might be in discussions to fight. They were both on a call to each other earlier, and the viral video went round of Jake Paul saying he would knock out Anthony Joshua. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jake Paul would actually be lucky to make it out alive, and I'm actually being dead serious. I think Jake Paul would be lucky to make it out of the ring with Anthony Joshua alive. Tyron Woodley literally had Jake Paul on skates and had Jake Paul panicking for his life. Imagine what Anthony Joshua would do. Look at what Joshua did to the last non-boxer he fought in Francis Ngannou. That is not going to end well for Jake Paul. But look, let's be real here. This fight should never happen. It's an absolute disgrace to the sport if it does. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of backlash if this actually happens, because it's actually probably worse to the sport of boxing than what Fury in Ngannou was when it came around, or or Mayweather McGregor. It can't happen.
MMA fighter Anthony Smith recently shared his thoughts on Jake Paul's approach to boxing, suggesting that Paul targets legendary fighters mainly to secure big paydays. Smith believes Paul's strategy is to stir up controversy by trash-talking established names, which then leads to high-profile fights that generate significant money. This view fits with a pattern many have noticed in Paul's matchmaking choices, often involving older or less active fighters. This approach has sparked criticism among boxing purists who feel it undermines the sport's integrity.
Like our legends, older, shorter, smaller, past their prime legends that have spent their entire careers running their bodies into fucking car accidents, and then we hold these guys near and dear to our heart. And then this fuckhead just pulls them out of fucking semi-retirement, and then just...
Jake Paul's ambitions go beyond boxing, as he's also expressed interest in facing MMA star Conor McGregor. Paul has claimed his boxing skills are improving, while suggesting McGregor's abilities are on the decline with age. This statement has been met with skepticism, given McGregor's extensive combat sports background and accomplishments. Nonetheless, Paul's comment highlighted his confidence in his strategy of challenging big-name athletes to boost his own profile in the combat sports world.
McGregor's done.
I think he has to come back and fight, but he needs to win.
Will he fight you?
I don't think he will. I think my skill level is outgrowing his in boxing, and I have the height advantage. He can't beat me, and I think he probably knows that. And time, he's only getting older, and I'm only getting better.
Many fans are excited about the idea of a fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, mostly because they believe Joshua would dominate Paul and humble him in the ring. Paul's track record calling out top fighters and claiming he's superior has made him a highly polarizing figure in combat sports. While many feel his confidence in challenging Joshua is unrealistic, considering the huge gap in experience, skill, and weight class, the prospect of fight has sparked massive interest. Some fans are hoping Joshua will finally shut down Paul's bold claims inside the ring.
You have got to be taking the mick. Jake Paul has called out Anthony Joshua and claims, I will fucking beat Anthony Joshua's ass. You know what? I want this to happen just so Anthony Joshua could just absolutely decimate this man right here. So first he fights Tommy Fury, a legitimate professional boxer, and he loses. Then he fights an OAP and Mike Tyson and beats him. Obviously, he's nearly 60 years old. Then he goes to try and fight Canelo, which fell through, thankfully. Then he tried to fight Tank Davis, which again fell through. And now he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, a legit world-level heavyweight boxer. Anthony Joshua is someone that I've always looked up to and probably one of my favourite boxers to this day and age. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind Jake Paul here and there, but there's just things he does in the sport that I don't agree with at all. And fighting Anthony Joshua, listen, I'm all here for it, just to see him get knocked clean out. The fact that he thinks he can compete with these high-level boxers, even though he lost to Tommy Fury, is just laughable. But how long does it take for Anthony Joshua to knock Jake Paul out? I'm saying 5 seconds.
Anthony Joshua has weighed in on Jake Paul's rising influence in boxing. While he acknowledged that Paul still lacks the experience of a seasoned boxer, Joshua admitted that Paul has been beneficial for the sport by bringing in financial success and big paydays. Joshua recognizes that Paul's talent for generating attention and selling fights has attracted a new audience to boxing, something that traditional boxing purists may not always appreciate.
So, Jake Paul? Yeah, good. Great for boxing. Good luck to him. He's trying. Zero amateur experience, throwing himself in the deep end. I guarantee you he'll probably learn a lot more than a lot of fighters will that are just half-hearted with it. Man's throwing himself in the deep end, putting himself under pressure. You know, when you can deal with that amount of pressure, you have to get better at it. So yeah, good luck to him. Good luck to him.
Interestingly, Jake Paul has often expressed admiration for Anthony Joshua, calling him one of his favorite fighters. Despite his recent trash talk, Paul has previously praised Joshua for his accomplishments and boxing skills. However, Paul's latest comment suggests he's frustrated with the boxing industry, claiming that too much emphasis is placed on money and politics, rather than making the most exciting fights a reality.
Everyone's been wanting to see happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United... Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight, and what I mean by that is politics, people trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money, get in there, make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
Jake Paul has confidently declared himself as the only real fighter in boxing, claiming that he's the one who truly brings excitement and energy to the sport. In contrast, while some traditional boxers dismiss YouTube boxing altogether, Anthony Joshua has taken a more measured stance. Joshua has acknowledged that YouTube boxing has been good for sport, bringing in a new audience and boosting overall viewership. He recognizes that fighters like Jake Paul have introduced boxing to younger fans who may not have been interested in the sport before.
What do you make of this YouTube
10 out of 10.
boxing scene?
I'm telling you, it's good for boxing because it's showing people you can fight someone that is well-known, credible, can fight, marketable, without a championship and have that same effect early on in your career, and you can still get all the rewards anyway. So I think that they're showing guys, oh, hang on a minute, there's so much potential in boxing regardless of championships, and I think it's good because now people start taking more risks early on. These guys coming into the game are changing the landscape for the better, showcasing that if you have a business mind on, marketable, creative, content driven, obviously talented, you can generate big business and do great things.
Jake Paul has made a habit of calling out boxing legends, offering them big paydays, and then trash talking them after their fights. Despite his first professional loss to Tommy Fury, Paul continues to position himself as one of the biggest draws in boxing.
Who is the most power you've ever felt in a fight?
I would say Tommy Fury. It's the shots you don't see. So Tommy was a little tricky. Mike's punches I could see coming. He was strong, but he didn't land anything clean. So I honestly didn't feel Mike Tyson's full power, but that's good. I mean, you don't want to. So
I feel like he lost confidence second round. Like he stopped giving his all.
He just started surviving.
One of the most controversial moments in Jake Paul's career came when he called out Mike Tyson, a former heavyweight champion and one of the most feared fighters in boxing history. Tyson was widely considered past his prime when Paul mentioned the idea of a fight. Although Paul went on to win a fight by decision in a separate bout, many fans were outraged by the thought of him challenging an aging legend like Tyson. The backlash was strong, with many feeling that Paul was disrespecting the legacy of one of boxing's all-time greats. CLIP 15. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more.
Wasn't the Tyson-Jake fight, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's amazing they got paid so much money for that.
25 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40. Yeah, I think that's what I'd heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight and he was going to get hurt.
You've known him for a long time. I've known him for a long time.
I love that dude.
Me too.
And he was a larger than life figure in my childhood.
Truly, me
when
too.
I was a kid, when he was the champ, it was like people don't understand what a champ he was. Like he wasn't just the heavyweight champion of the world. He was an executioner. Truly. Every fight was just a matter of how long was it going to last.
Which fight it was that I went to go see a couple of fights, and I actually went to go see Julio Cesar Chavez fight, and that's when I met Tyson in the green room.
Watching Netflix on Friday night, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson?
Yes, I was. But what did I make of it? I think commercially and a business sense, thought it was absolutely fantastic. Both men made a ton of money. So best luck to them. Congratulations. As far as the boxing fight, it wasn't a fight. It was a tip and tap. Don't hit me, I won't hit you. Circle the ring a little bit. Make it look good. That's all it was. So I don't really make too much of it.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.